Hi guys, welcome to part two of our drawing unicorns. And what we're looking at right now is horses, obviously. So I'm going to show you kind of a quick technique where you can practice drawing. If you're drawing thumbnails, there's lots and lots of different ways to sort of start a drawing, but this is what I usually do. So I'm going to do this on an overlay so you can kind of see how it relates. I do not want you guys tracing drawings. That's not what we're about, but I do want you to kind of see how the shapes relate, okay? So you can see here, I have two horses. I've dropped the opacity so that you can see me draw on top of it just a little bit better. And these are some good action poses. So you can draw a more static looking unicorn that's just standing there, but it's a little more exciting if there's some movement in it. So what I want to do is kind of show you a really fast way to do thumbnails, because you're going to want to do 3 of them or so at least. You can do as many as you want, to get some idea of poses. And you don't necessarily want to spend a lot of time doing your thumbnails, but you want to get a general pose, sort of shorthand for an idea that you might want to go back to. So what you want to do is you can kind of, just do, I just do circles sometimes, right? So I have this kind of like, oval that's the head, a quick like line of action that in this case kind of extends down into this leg where a lot of the weight is on, these back legs, and especially this one. And then you kind of want to get where the bulk of the body is. So, you've got the general torso, you have the body here, the leg. You want to pay attention, so I kind of put circles where the joints are, just so that I know where the legs can bend. Hooves kind of go backwards here. And again, this is, we want, don't need to name all the bones necessarily, but you can only have, these straight lines in where the bones are, right? And so this is almost kind of, a stick figure version of a horse. Notice I'm not worried about the outline too much. I'm just worried about the general idea, and then I can go back and, kind of put in things like this. Don't worry too much about the mane and the tail at first, and just get the pose in. Mane, tail is detail. You can kind of, you can get the ears in there if you want, a little bit of the eye spot or whatever. And then, you can just get that in there like that, okay? So, again, this is an overlay, and then, this is here, and kind of the body here, you've got this kind of like, that was an ugly line, I don't like that. It's also an ugly line. Wow, this is terrible. Okay. That's better. The undo button is your friend, let me tell you, when you're doing digital here. Okay. So, but you've got, right, joint, that's going to go here, going to go here. This is kind of going to overlap right here. Joint, bend, right? These are coming here, and then you can connect them. Now, this is really just a stick figure horse, right? And then you can kind of put in your details there. Okay, so that is just a quick little outline. And when you turn off the underneath part, this is what you're left with. And it's really just a fast way to do that. Now I can kind of do that, and I will do that a little bit later, just looking at it, so that you don't think I'm just tracing all the time, because I promise you I don't do that when I'm really drawing. But I do want to kind of show you the basics of it, right? So this is thumbnail sketches, and of course, we're doing Junicorn, so hey, we can give them horns, because why not? Okay, there. So now they're unicorns. So I'm going to turn this part off, and I want to show you the horses laying down. Okay, again, this is not action poses, but I want to show you something kind of neat. You know, we talked about anatomy in the last video, and so again, if you were gonna, line of action here is not a lot of action happening, right, because it's laying down, but you still have that line of, you know, the neck and spine, and really there's bone into the tail too, so you could bring that out into the tail, and you could do the same thing here, right? So this is head here, line of action, just sort of there. You don't have to have it all the way up into the spine at first. You can change that around, but this is sort of where that's going, right in there. And then, but when you come back to this, you kind of want to think about where the bones are, right? So you've got your joints here, joint here, this is coming here, this is the shoulder blade, you know, right here, right? So this is, again, upper arm, lower arm, and hand, right, for you, but this is going to go like that for this guy. Okay, and then got this whole mass sort of right here, and the rest of the belly, you have the haunches, the flank, right? And then when they lay down, this is his ankle back here, basically, right? That's, yeah, it's as far as how it corresponds to your body. This is going to go here, here. There's a little, but so this is, you know, cannon bone, pastern, and hoof. Okay, here. So, and then you can kind of look at, see how his tail is sitting on the ground, so the hair is sort of spilling out this way into a blobby shape. It's not tail shaped really anymore. And then if you kind of want to take a look at their ears, right? Sometimes their ears are pointed forward. Sometimes they're listening to something off to the side, and their ears tend to rotate the direction that they are listening. So you can tell a lot about animal behavior actually, and what they're paying attention to through their ears, because they can't talk, but they can certainly let you know. If you ever run into an animal, you know, and it has its ears rotated all the way, pinned back, that is a stressed out or mad animal, and you do not want to be messing with that animal. But you can tell a lot through that. So again, just get, you know, the basic body shape. Like there's a really big bulk here. There's this here joint coming out, and then you can kind of play with the idea of the tail right here. Okay, and then there's that. So again, this is, you know, if it's laying down. Okay, and again, like, do I have a lot of detail? No, you know, but it gets the idea across. Okay, you can kind of get, and you can go back and put your details in and make it a little more specific, but you have the basics down, right? Okay, so on this last one, I'm going to show you, and again, you put horns on them, make them unicorns. Okay, this is the one we actually started with on the other video that I showed you, and so you can kind of see this has a nice line of action right here. So I'm going to, that doesn't want me to do that. Okay, I'm going to try to keep this all on the page, and we'll kind of see how this goes. But again, so I would start head, you know, and it has kind of a wedge-shaped head there. We'll worry about the details of it later. And just get that down, and then I'll kind of be quiet for a minute while I draw, because this talking and drawing thing not working out so well for me. Okay. So a little bit of a line kind of carries through down, into the leg there. And then we've got a hook here. Okay. Again, I'm kind of staying out of the outline, drawing inside to outside basically. One of the things that you can do that's kind of effective is take a look at the space between things and the negatives. I know I talked about negative spaces, but so the bottom of this is pretty close, so the knee might come out here, and then take a look at angles. So there's this angle here, and keep those angles the same when you draw, and the spaces. So this leg comes down here. It's just, I don't know, it's a million little judgments that you make as you go. And sometimes the judgments are correct, and sometimes you look back at it and you go, no, I need to change that because it's wrong. So you can kind of, make changes. Nothing in art is unchangeable, especially not digitally. Okay, so there's, again, this angle. Keep that angle the same. Keep the body here. And this tail is kind of up, right, from here, and then it just sort of streaming in the wind, right? That's kind of the idea of the speed too, is that it's the hair is going backwards on the tail, right? And then, so if you kind of look here, this joint, like when this comes down, this is outward about this much from here, so that means this is going to go about here. Now I started drawing too far down, so it's going to go off the page. If that happens, I think we've talked about that before in class, just keep drawing off the page. If you're on paper, don't shrink proportions to try to fit, I made this too long, to try to fit something that you think should be there. Like, don't make him have don't make him a corgi horse and make him have really short legs just because there's no room. It's better to crop off in that case. Okay. And then you can pay a little attention to, these little things in here. The bones are, again, and then you can start adding your outside contours once you have that your proportions are right. And then the other thing, you could take a look at this little negative space in here. So maybe I need to make sure that that's a similar negative space here. That joint probably needed to be up a little bit. And then you can put ears on him, and if the ears aren't exactly the same, no big deal. I made this neck a little, like his head's a little out, so his body needs to come in. I need to close, this space right here a little bit, because that came in too far. And then he's got another leg back here that's you can kind of see this space right here, right? And that's where that kind of comes back. And then this is all, maybe it's not too bad anyway, because he's kicking up a lot of dust, so it's going to be some dust down there. And then this bone, like you can see right here, this arcs backwards, like his hoof turns, right? So that's the cannon bone, pastern bone, is where it turns. And horses actually have, regular horses have pretty small eyes, in their heads. If a lot of times when you draw unicorns, they have bigger kind of cartoony eyes, and that's fine because they're not real. But if you want it to look more horse-like, then you can do so. You notice, like, until now, I wasn't using the eraser a whole lot. And if you really want to challenge yourself, you can make yourself do this in pen. For, consider it practice for Inktober, right? But it really is helpful because it means that you can't spend a lot of your time changing your mind and drawing and erasing. I know I said you can change things, and you can, but sometimes if you spend time fixing the one little line, you will spend 20 minutes fixing the one little line, and then you'll be mad at it at the end anyway, and you won't like it. So, and then you can kind of go in and, some of this, his thigh is a little more curved here, and this is a little, I think this probably should have been a little shorter right here. And then if you want, you can go in. You can also do a little bit of, he needs a mane, so again, this is kind of a way to indicate, speed, as if the mane is kind of flowing backwards, right? And if it's a unicorn, you can make it have a really long, you can make it have a long flowing mane too, if it's a unicorn. So you don't have to be faithful to your photograph that you're using necessarily. You can make their horns. Also, here I'll undo this for a second. You can make them have straight horns, but you can also make them have like curved horns too, right? You can make them be spiraled if you want. So it doesn't. You can make it whatever you want. You can also do value mapping, which means you can kind of go through and you can see right here like some of the major shadows, and you can plug that in if you want. That might help you for later. You can do some quick little hatching marks under there too to kind of indicate shading, and make it go backwards. Right. This one here too. So hatching marks are just a really fast way to do that. And then if you want, you can go back through. It depends on what your next steps are. A lot of times I will drop the opacity of my initial sketch, which, as you can tell, is really, really messy. It's not particularly graceful at the beginning, and then I'll spend some time going over it and fixing things that I don't like. And there are a lot of those in this drawing, turns out. But, you can make your drawing a little more clean, and then go ahead and color if you want. It is really hard to draw and talk at the same time. I know we have watched videos in class of other people doing that, and they're just better at it than I am. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. But here we are, because we're home. And you can make the eyes bigger, make them more unicorn. Give this one a straighter horn though. I'm not a fan of the curved horn. Okay, so there we have it. And I would go through here and do this and change lines and stuff if I was gonna really turn this into something I was gonna use for Junicorn. I might anyway, just for giggles, and offload it. But you can see I didn't trace that one. It's not perfect. It doesn't look exactly like the drawing, but I think it looks like a unicorn. And I could always go back and make the legs a little bit longer, or make him a little more slender if that's what I wanted to do. It depends on whether you want like a powerful unicorn or a graceful unicorn, or like a cutie little round unicorn. So don't be afraid to exaggerate things too in order to do this, right? And then in the next video we're going to talk about non-horsey unicorns. Okay, see you over there.